I lost my fucking weight. I ain't look for a trainer. I ain't do all that thinking. What I did was I basically stopped eating so much fucking food.
Get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, run a full marathon before work.
Hit the road at 2:45 a.m.
Why the fuck don't you want to be in better shape?
Yes, I wake up early. Yes, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning.
We've all heard this advice before. Wake up at 4 a.m., run every day, track everything you eat, meal prep every meal, lift 6 days a week, no excuses, and if you do, you're a bitch.
You really are a bitch.
And look, there may be some truth to that. The problem is that most of it comes from people who genuinely enjoy fitness, or people who have been doing it for years, or people whose careers literally depend on looking fit. For most people, however, that advice doesn't feel inspiring. It feels impossible. And when you can't keep up with it, you start thinking, maybe you're just lazy. Maybe you're never meant to be fit when you're juggling 10 different things. Maybe the problem is you. But what if that's not the problem? What if the problem is that you're trying to follow fitness advice designed for someone else? What if getting fit isn't about becoming more disciplined? What if it's about building a version of fitness that actually fits your life? And that's what this video is all about. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is trying to train like athletes and celebrities. And honestly, I understand why. Because that's literally what every fitness influencer on social media shows us. You see someone with incredible physique joining high rocks competitions, running marathons, joining CrossFit events. And naturally, we want to know what they're doing. So you search, how did Chris Hemsworth get his physique? Or what's The Rock's workout? Or what's David Goggins' routine? And then you try to do what every aspiring fitness guy does. You copy them. The problem is you're copying the workout, not the lifestyle. You see the 2-hour training session, you don't see the years of adaptation behind it. You see the physique, you don't see the schedule that made it possible. You see the result, but not the context. And this, I think, is where most people get trapped. They don't fail because they're lazy. They don't fail because they're not disciplined. They fail because they're trying to build a lifestyle that's built for somebody else. A lifestyle built for someone whose schedule, priorities, and responsibilities look completely different. And honestly, I've made the same mistake. Back when I was competing, I could train for hours. I'd lift, do conditioning, do accessories, and sometimes do skill work after that. Because at that stage of life, it fit. I had the time, the energy, the recovery, and the priorities. But then, life changed. Today, I have a full-time job, a son to raise, a business to run, and coaching responsibilities after that. For a long time, I was still trying to train like the version of me that competed. But eventually, I realized something important. The routines that work in one season of life won't always work in the next. And that's not failure. It is reality. As life changes, your training has to change with it. Not because you're less disciplined, not because you're lazy, but because your priorities, schedule, and recovery capacity are different. And if you're anything like me, you're probably trying to balance fitness alongside work, family, and everything else life throws at you. You're not a professional athlete, and so am I. We're normal people trying to stay healthy, get stronger, and feel good while managing responsibilities. And that's exactly why you shouldn't compare your training to someone whose entire life is built around fitness. The best fitness program isn't the most optimized one. It's the one you'll still be able to do 6 months from now. Think about that, because most people spend more time searching for the perfect plan than actually following one.
1, 2.
When life gets busy, you can't afford to waste effort. You need the highest return on activities, the things that give you the biggest results for the smallest investment. I call these fitness multipliers. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people constantly chasing whatever is trending. The newest workout, the loudest fitness challenge, the magic diet that's supposed to change everything. And look, those things can be fun. They're exciting. They're Instagrammable. But most people end up jumping from one trend to the next without ever spending enough time on the fundamentals to see real progress. The truth is that the best results usually come from the least exciting things. Things like strength training, walking, running, cycling. eating enough protein, and getting enough sleep. They're not flashy, they're not revolutionary, but they're incredibly effective. And for most people, that's where the majority of results come from. If I was talking to someone who's generally busy and only have a few hours each week to dedicate to fitness, strength training would probably be at the top of my list. Because strength training isn't just about building muscle. It's one of the most powerful things you can do for your long-term health, for maintaining weight loss, for preserving muscle as you age, for staying physically capable. And this is something that we see in our gym all the time. People often come to us after years of focusing exclusively on cardio. And don't get me wrong, cardiovascular exercises are fantastic, but it's not complete. Eventually, those who focus exclusively on cardio will hit a plateau. Their race times stop improving, their body composition doesn't really change, and despite all the miles they're putting in, they don't really feel strong and athletic. Then we introduce them to some structured strength training sessions each week. Nothing fancy, just the basics done consistently. And suddenly, things start moving again. They get stronger, they feel more athletic, their body composition improves. In most cases, the running improves too. That's why I'm such a big believer of combining strength training with some form of cardio. You don't need to choose one or the other. For most people, the combination is where the magic happens. And the good news is that strength training doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need 20 exercises. You don't need advanced techniques. You don't need a complicated split. You just need the basics. Squat, hinge, push, pull, carry, the exercises that have worked for decades. And the same idea applies to the rest of fitness. Most people don't need a perfect diet. They need a diet that's simple enough to follow consistently. Start by cutting back on ultra-processed foods and sugary drinks. Eat protein with every meal. If you're trying to maximize muscle retention and recovery, aiming for somewhere around 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is a solid target. Then, fill the rest of your diet mostly with whole foods. Fruits, vegetables, rice, potatoes. Foods your grandparents would recognize as food. That's already better than what most people are doing. And finally, sleep. I know it's not exciting. I know everyone wants the magic workout or the perfect supplement. But sleeping 7 to 9 hours consistently is one of the biggest performance enhancers you'll ever find. Better recovery, better energy, better appetite control, and better workouts. Most people are looking for a secret when the fundamentals are already powerful enough. Here's something I learned after many years of training. Most workouts aren't missed inside the gym. They're missed before you ever leave the house. Think about it. You finish work, you're tired. Now you need to find your clothes, pack your bag, figure out what workout you're doing, drive to the gym, find motivation, and somehow, after all of that, still train. That's a lot of friction. I'm usually a sucker when it comes to training early in the morning. I find it really hard to go to the gym first thing in the morning. So what I usually do is I prepare everything I need the day before I come to the gym. Okay, so at night, I'd be preparing my bag. I'll put all my clothes in my bag, all my gears in my bag. And all I have to do is really take the bag. So I'll show you my bag right now. My clothes are already inside and my trusty grips are already here. So all I have to do now is get out of the house and take my bag. And guess what? I already slept with my gym clothes on. See? Yeah, so that's one way I reduce the friction. One of the easiest ways to stay consistent is to reduce the number of decisions you have to make, because every decision requires energy, and busy people are already spending most of their energy elsewhere. There's a reason people like Steve Jobs became famous for wearing the same outfit every day. It wasn't about fashion, it was about reducing decision fatigue and saving mental energy for higher priority tasks. The same principle applies to fitness. If every workout requires you to decide when you'll train, what you'll do, and whether you feel motivated enough to do it, you're creating unnecessary friction. The more predictable you can make the process, the easier it becomes to stay consistent. And unless fitness is your full-time job, consistency usually comes from making the important things automatic. This is also why I'm a huge believer in convenience. I mean, you're not gonna wanna work out if you have to travel for an hour just to work out for an hour, right? So if you can, choose a gym that's near to you or close to where you work. Or better yet, build a small home setup. The easier it is for fitness to access, the more you'll do it. And most importantly, schedule it. Don't leave it up to motivation. Don't ask yourself if you feel like it. Treat it like an appointment, because nobody accidentally becomes consistent. Consistency is scheduled. One of the most powerful consistency tools I've ever discovered is having a goal. Not a vague goal, a real one. Something with a date attached to it. Instead of relying on motivation, give yourself something to aim at. Some days you'll finish work exhausted. Some days life will get in the way. Some days the last thing you want to do is train. And that's exactly why goals matter. They give you direction on the days that motivation isn't there. The good news is that you don't need to become an elite athlete. You just need something to work toward. A 5K, a 10K, a fun run, a Hyrox event, a local competition, a hiking trip, anything. One thing I've noticed is that people train harder when there is a reason. Not because they suddenly become disciplined, but because the workouts now mean something. There's a purpose behind it, and purpose creates consistency. The final lesson is probably the most important. Most people define success the wrong way. Success becomes a number on the scale, a body weight, visible abs, a PR. And while those things aren't bad, they're not completely under your control. So, I came across a line that I absolutely believe in. Small wins create momentum, and momentum creates big wins. A lot of people set goals that are so big they become overwhelming. Lose 50 pounds, run a marathon, completely change your lifestyle. And when the goal feels massive, it's easy to feel like you're constantly falling behind. But if you zoom in and focus on the next small step, everything changes. Instead of obsessing over losing 50 pounds, focus on the next workout. Instead of worrying where you'll be 3 months from now, focus on the next healthy meal. Because fitness is not built through one giant breakthrough. It's built through hundreds of small decisions repeated over time. Imagine two people. One person loses 5 pounds in a month. The other person shows up every scheduled workout for 30 straight days. Which one is more successful? Most people would probably say the first person, but I'd argue it's the second. Because weight loss is a result. Showing up is the habit that creates the result. And that distinction matters. The person who lost 5 pounds might feel motivated at first. What happens when progress slows down? Or life gets stressful, or the quick win disappears? If success is only measured by the results, it becomes easy to feel like you're failing. But the second person has a different scoreboard. Their win is simple. Did I show up today? Did I follow the plan? Did I keep the promise I made to myself? And when that becomes the goal, every completed workout becomes proof that they're becoming the kind of person who trains consistently. Over 1 month, that might not look dramatic. But over 1 year, that person is going to be in a completely different place. The people who get fit aren't necessarily the most motivated. They aren't necessarily the people with the most free time. They're the people who build a version of fitness that fits the life they actually have. Because fitness doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be extreme. It just needs to survive. And if it survives long enough, the results usually takes care of themselves. If you enjoyed this video, I'd highly appreciate it if you can like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.